Hey guys, Coach Mark. Hey, let's talk for a minute or two about habit and habit forming and how do you develop habit. A lot of times in this life, we create habits and they're neither good nor bad. But I have to wonder and I have to ask myself, and I'm asking you, what if the habits that we are creating, what if we decided that we were going to specifically seek and search for good habits? A bad habit is easy to make. All you have to do is continue to do the same thing over incorrectly, and that bad habit gets developed and it gets ingrained in us. So a lot of times when it comes to sport, when I'm coaching or whatever, a lot of my guys, if we have the rule for my lacrosse team right now is if we drop the ball 3 times in a row, we all stop, we take a deep breath, and we start over. Because why would you want to build a bad habit? Why would you want to ingrain that or to make a neural pathway that would begin to solidify a bad habit? So anytime that you feel like you've made a mistake, that you're beginning to build a bad habit, we stop. We take a deep breath, we start over fresh, right? A fresh paper, a fresh page. Writers, a lot of times a writer will write and there may only be 3 words on the page. But if it doesn't feel right, then they're going to rip that page and start over again, or they're going to delete it. In this day and age, I get it. A lot of people use typewriters. I'm old-fashioned, but don't let anything be on that page metaphorically that's going to throw you off and continue to run you down a path of bad habit. We want to emphasize the good habits. We want to emphasize the good things. And don't get me wrong, as we're seeking after these good habits, we're going to make some mistakes. But if we analyze and scrutinize that moment and we pull the good from it and we get rid of the bad, that's how good habits are made. And building good habits begins to make a foundation for our base. And our foundation is key to everything that we do. And if our foundations aren't built on good habits, then we have a weak foundation. And we can't do that because, again, going back to the pyramid that I always like to talk about, that a pyramid can only be as tall as it is wide. And if we're not building that solid base that is super wide, but it's also super solid, we're going to crumble. And bad habits create crumbling to a good team. Bad habits create crumbling to a good culture. And bad habits create crumbling or destruction to a good program. So as we begin to build our good habits, and let's solidify those, and let's call those anchor points in our lives and anchor points on our teams. A lot of teams have foundational protocols that you have to be able to do this foundationally before you can move to the next level. When we build those good habits in sport, it's like playing a video game. We don't have to go back to World 1.1 again every time we turn the console on. Our progress is saved because we've built these good habits and we've leveled up to the next level. And I need you to understand that every time you level up, that foundation is solidified. So if you level up and you're only getting a 75% in your habit realm, and you continue to move forward without setting yourself back and solidifying these habits at 90 to 95%, I would prefer it was 100%. We may not ever achieve perfection, but the pursuit of it is what creates great and good habits. And if you'll settle for good, that's on you, but I'm asking you to go for great. Because when we go for great, we may actually hit it. There's no reason that we can't have great, good habits in our lives, in our sport, in our craft. For those of us who play sport, actually are developing and honing a craft, and those things will never leave you. There are things in that craft that you're developing that not only are going to be with you for life in sport, but also with you for life in life. Our sport is an analogy for life, and we have to understand that when we're on the game field, when we're on the playing field, and when we're out there pursuing perfection in our craft, that we are developing habits for life. Because when it gets hard, what do? What habit do you fall back on? Where do you anchor to? Is it going to get pissed off and cuss somebody or blame it on somebody else? Or are we going to take responsibility for who we are, what we've done, and the actions that we've chosen to take? Because every action has a consequence, and it's not good or bad. It's just a consequence. It doesn't care Whether you think it's a good consequence or a bad consequence, it just is what it is, and it's based on what you've done. Habits are something that need to be developed. The thought is that it takes 21 days to develop a habit. It takes 10,000 hours to become a master. So 21 days and 10,000 hours, the chasm there is great. But as we pursue it and walk this out, chasing perfection, and we should chase perfection in our habits, we become masters of our craft. We become masters of our own lives, and our foundations are built wide so that our pyramids can be built tall.